All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmy Lee Velez. I'm here with Goose,
What's up?
Heck,
Yo.
Manny, and Gabe. That's right, folks. We are stacked. Philadelphia Eagles. In this episode, the crew talks about the Philadelphia Eagles football team, the season, the Super Bowl, being an underdog, the city of brotherly love, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Tom Landry and George Halas. If you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download, subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off with a definition from dictionary.com. Underdog. I think we defined this before, but because of the Eagles thing, I think we should define it again. It's defined as a person who is expected to lose in a contest or conflict. So, Philadelphia Eagles, baby, Super Bowl bound. I want to kind of read the beginning portion of this article I found on MSN.com. The title is Foles, Eagles fly into Super Bowl rout Vikings 38-7, which was an amazing game that we all watched. And if I could just read the beginning portion of this article, it could kind of give you a glimpse as to, I guess, the minds and the experience of what's going on here in Philadelphia. So, Philadelphia, with 1 quarter remaining, Eagles players on the field and sideline already were dancing. A bit later, after their stunning and resounding 38-7 rout of the Minnesota Vikings earned them the NFC Championship, they listened as nearly 70,000 made the link shake with Fly, Eagles Fly. Hey, Philly, you're in the Super Bowl. Quote, "It was electric. The fans are awesome," All-Pro tackle Lane Johnson said. Quote, "We're going there to prove we belong," added Brandon Graham of the meeting with the AFC champion Patriots in 2 weeks. And maybe it's time for everyone to put aside Carson Wentz's injury. Nick Foles might be good enough to win the Eagles their first NFL title since 1960. Foles was on fire Sunday night against the stingiest scoring defense in the NFL. Next up, after their most lopsided playoff victory, the Eagles' first Super Bowl appearance since 2005 against the team that beat them then. Foles replaced the injured Wentz in Game 13 and finished off a rise from last place last season to the first in the NFC East. I quote, "I just think you've got to keep going at it," Foles said, "and we all believe in each other. I'm blessed to have amazing teammates, amazing coaches. Everyone here that's part of the Philadelphia Eagles organization is first class." Quote from Coach Doug Peterson, "I'm so happy for Nick and the offense. And for Nick, everything he's been through and battled, he stayed the course and we all believed in him." Another quote by the owner, Jeff Lurie, "I'm so proud of our players. The resilience this group of men has is unequaled." So there you have it, folks. I just kind of chopped up that article. Just wanted to kind of give a brief, and there's a million articles out there, obviously. When any team wins a major sporting event, they're, all the terrible puns are out, and Philadelphia winning made no excuse. I was actually listening to comedian Bill Burr. He's from Boston, obviously, so he was excited about the Patriots. But he was talking about how obnoxious it kind of is what they do to the Philly. Anytime some sporting team wins in Philly, they go, and this is how you make a cheesesteak, or this is how you order a cheesesteak. Yeah. And they show the Rocky statue, and they talk about, and it's like, okay, we get it. So that's cliche. Bill Burr saying it. And it just made me laugh because it really is. It's true. It's almost like, they were the underdog. Their record proves differently, and we'll get into why they're considered the underdog, or why they were for the last couple games. But so let's just go, kind of around the table if you want to talk about it. What about the Birds? I mean, what was your first thought, or after we all watched the game last night? I mean, they're going to the Super Bowl.
Disbelief.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the whole game happened.
they blew them out. Like I didn't expect the game to be a blowout like that.
Right.
And it just the way they were playing, like they Nick Foles got his act together. Like I mean, not that he didn't have it, but it was like he played strong and he proved himself once again.
Everything came together. Well, it was after that first Vikings drive. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
All right.
Man. They set the 10 a little early. I got nervous.
I think everyone got nervous.
I watched it with my dad, who's like a pessimist. Who's like anything about Philly, he just roots against it just because, I don't know, that's his natural inclination.
Yeah.
He's like, before, he's like, dude, I think they're going to get killed. I'm like, okay. And I just kept shaking him off. As soon as they scored, he turned, told you. And he just got up. I was so thoroughly annoyed.
I was about to trip him as he's walking.
I was so annoyed. I was like, is this what it's going to be?
Told you, dog.
That's exactly what he said. Like, oh, my God. My mom just looked at me, too. She's not a fan of football. She just watched because it was the thing to do. But she looked at me and rolled her eyes, and I just started laughing. I was like, oh, my God. And then that's it. They didn't score after that, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, the game itself, obviously the score is 38-7. The game started off with the Vikings drive, literally
Like it was easy.
scored 7-0, and then Eagles possession, they did nothing with it. Vikings get the ball again, and boom, that was the end of the game. Basically, there was an interception, ran it back for a touchdown, and right after that, an additional 31 unanswered points. It was like we are watching a Super Bowl equipped team. This is so much hype around it, and the whole underdog thing. Obviously, they had second-year All-Star Carson Wentz as our quarterback. And he had obviously it was a promising start to the season, all the way to the end of the season. Everything was awesome, and then boom, a knee injury that took him out for the rest of the season. So the underdog thing came from Carson Wentz, our all-star quarterback, going out. Not only Carson Wentz, we had a multitude of injuries on both sides of the ball, and we had Nick, our backup quarterback, basically carrying us. And really, our defense, if we didn't have a very good defense, none of this would have been possible. And so it was just kind of like a game-by-game thing. And from them, they're 4-1. They literally lost one game with Nick Foles. So it's kind of like, what the heck is happening right now? We don't know. But it somehow worked. The whole Miracle on Broad Street thing that we're talking about, it happened, and it's just like, what is going on? Like, we don't, everything perfectly lined up for the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl. Teams that normally gave us crazy competition, we don't know if we got that much better, like the Cowboys and Giants. Cowboys beat us once, we beat them once, but the Giants, for some reason, they fell apart this year. We don't know what was going on with their coaching. It was a disaster. The Cowboys lose their number one running back for 6+ games. That basically destroyed their the rest of their season. That was like in the middle of the season, I think. He came back for a game or two.
Yeah, they came back like 2 games to the end of the season.
Yeah. And those were our greater competition, right? And throughout the season, or our rivals, I should say.
Right.
And it's just like, seriously, what's going on right now? And it just kept adding up. But then we got the Wentz injury. I'm like, dang, maybe it isn't meant to. Maybe it's not. You start thinking all this stuff. But somehow they kept coming up with this crazy win. And so it was last week when they beat the Falcons. It was Lane Johnson and I always want to say Howie Long. Chris Long came out with these costume dog masks, put them over their head, obviously representing the whole underdog thing. And within a week, it took the entire city by storm, and even just the NFL in general. It just became the talking topic, literally, with these masks, companies that were making them and selling out. They went from literally as a $10 mask to upwards to $50. I just talked to someone today. Their boyfriend bought one and he spent $50. He's like,
I've seen him for like 100.
Yeah, I mean,
insane.
it's just nuts.
That's
The
insane.
school actually they made masks at school.
I was gonna say
German
this.
Shepherd masks on like
On
popsicle
sticks. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
My son came home and was like, "Hey, Dad," and I was like, "Really?" Yeah, I mean, it really took,
Lainey
took
went to school. She was like, it was on Friday. It was dress down day, but they were entitled to encouraged to wear Eagles attire. And she goes, "Dad, I need 50 cents." I'm like, "For what?" She's like, "They have the dog." I'm like, "What dog?" She's like, "You know the dog from football. They have the dog, and we get to buy it and carry it around." She was so excited to buy this thing. So
hers was legit.
Yeah, you saw
it was like a legit, like it was on the popsicle thing, but it was a really nice printout of
was
it.
it?
Yeah, like James came on. Same thing. They had a pep rally. Mind you, James is 4, so he comes home. They had the like a paper, like a on a printing paper cut out. So they cut it out. The teachers cut it out, and it was a print of the German Shepherd. But the project was the kids colored them.
Yeah.
So James, all you see is 2 little light brown marks. That was it. But that was his colored little thing. And then they marched around their gym like holding a mask, and the same thing. They all had like Eagle stuff. They thought they were doing, you know what I mean, walking down Broad Street or something. And they're just in their little gymnasium. But yeah, I mean, and again, everybody, embraced it. And again, we go back talking, Philadelphia loves that. I'm not so sure if it's that you love it or it's the position that you're actually in and you're embracing it. It just so happens to be. It just seems like we're coming out of nowhere kind of thing. So I guess, yes, that's an underdog thing. But I'm not so sure if that's something that you're like, oh, I want to be an underdog. I mean, I think that's just what you are, and then you're able to capitalize on the moment, and that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
Because the unexpected, again, as the definition implies, a person who is expected to lose in a contest or conflict comes out on top. That's what makes the stories great. Yeah. Because if you're the underdog and you lose, not a good story.
Exactly.
Because you're the underdog and you're going to lose, right? It's the overcoming and the conquering. That is where the meat of the story.
And I guess what Philly, too, is like, it's always known for, they're renowned for like the over-the-top fanaticism.
Yes.
Along with, we always have, we start off, sometimes we do good and then like he just falls apart for the most part. But now with the fanaticism along with actually getting to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
I mean, if you think about it nationally, we're known. What was Rocky? Rocky is the ultimate underdog story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Born and bred in Philadelphia, and that movie, everybody.
Movie. That's the only
He's
thing that
the
bothers
most popular
me.
character ever in Philadelphia. He's not even a real guy.
And he's not even a real guy. You know what I mean?
He's got a statue in front of the art museum.
I know that's.
But I mean,
like,
we're known. We are
Philadelphia.
known to be the underdog town, or just be the underdog story. So I mean, I think
Well,
Philadelphians relish that.
For us, it's always like, oh, next year. So this year came, and Wentz was like, we were dominating teams at the beginning of the season, like numbers like crazy.
Yeah.
So then, of course, throughout the season, we get our number one running back gets injured. We got lucky to pick up another running back, an amazing running back from another
Miami.
team. Yeah, Ajayi. And that was like a blessing to the team. And then we have like all O-line guys freaking getting hurt, Peters or whatever. And then they worked as a team. Like, it wasn't just one person. One person got hurt, and then, that's it. The game's over, or the season's over. Dude, the next person that came up stepped up to the plate, like, in every position possible. Like, so it was like, and then, of course, we get to where Wentz actually got hurt, and then we got Foles, and everyone's kind of doubtful on Foles because you don't know. It's just like
Doubtful's being nice, man.
Yeah,
I wrote it off. I was like, we're done. That's it.
So when
Next
he was
year.
we barely won the game. Like, we were squeezing by. We were winning games by either like field goals or just like defense, really. And then for this game they just passed, for us to beat and dominate, like we look like exactly like we looked at the beginning of the season. So it's like now it's like really interesting. So we are playing like the best like quarterback in NFL right now, except for we played him 14 years ago. So now we have a 14-year-old quarterback, and we have a brand new young team.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be pretty interesting coming up.
It is. There's a lot of factors going on. When you're saying running back, you're saying you meant Darren Sproles, right?
Yeah, when he got injured. Yeah.
So, but anyway, same thing. We're trying to put the pieces together. And when I say we, I mean Philadelphia Eagles. I have no part. I don't get a paycheck from these people. It's just it's a fanatic thing. I think you just associate with a team so much, you start saying we.
You're a cheerleader.
Yeah,
You're French.
that too.
He's a French cheerleader.
Oh,
We put. They put so much together, pieces of the puzzle. And I know people are out there like, well, every team does that. Every team has injuries. I know, I get it. I'm just trying to explain this particular situation that it looked extremely promising. There wasn't seasons where, in the beginning of the season, it's still you knew that the Eagles weren't going anywhere. Yeah. Like they just didn't have it. Like you can tell.
Yeah.
This was one of those special seasons that it all came together because we had Carson Wentz last year, right?
Yeah.
It was one of those things though. All the pieces came together at the right time, and he also had I'm going to piggyback on what Goose was saying. The experience of just 1 year. The thing is with going against Brady is that he has all those years of experience. Yes, he is old. Yes, he has this whatever injuries going on with his hand, but it did not look to seem to have affected him after watching that game against the Jaguars. He played the game exactly how he would play it without his number one receiver, and then Gronk getting knocked out by a head injury, literally got a concussion. So if you can still operate under those, that's an experienced football player, a mastermind, and a master at his craft. That is what beat the Jaguars. Very smart playing because Jaguars had everything young, had everything put together, and you're like, how did they lose? You're watching this game and Jaguars are winning, and like I'm just pacing back and forth. I was excited for Bartles, like I really was, and I'm just watching them. Oh my God, they're legit gonna pull this thing off. And it's just like the old, like it was almost like they didn't even know what to do with themselves. It's like they blew a gasket or something, and it wasn't, you're like, well, what happened? What's going on here? And let's be honest, they beat a team. They beat a team prior to that, and their whole thing with bragging was defense, right? Like their defense was everything.
You're saying Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Known as Saxonville.
Right, Saxonville. And so that was what their thing, that's what they lived on.
Yeah.
And obviously, you have, running back like Fournette. That guy literally looks like one of the guys you build like when you're playing these video games. You know how you can build your own player? He looks like he's like such a big person. You're just like, dude, this guy's running the ball. He looks like a lineman. But anyway, I thought they had all the pieces to the puzzle, and it would have made for a great story. But I think an even better story is a Tom Brady. I think we're living in a legendary era of Tom Brady, arguably the best quarterback of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like it's one of those things like, oh gosh, I don't want to see it again. But he's like, oh, I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to say like I watched it. We survived the whole Michael Jordan thing. We were there to watch it. We were younger, but it was still so exciting.
Yeah.
Watching the dynasty of whatever LeBron James in the NBA. We watched the Derek Jeter dynasty. It's one of those things that is like you kind of want to see it happen in the back of your mind. Selfishly,
I didn't. I was rooting for Jacksonville. Something serious. I felt comfortable. I was like, I just feel better playing Jacksonville.
Oh no! That's who I wanted to play.
Right,
yeah, absolutely. Because I thought it would be a better matched if for the experience wise.
Right.
They've never been there. They're an organization that was established in 1993, so they're not around that long.
Right.
But they came into the NFL, and it's like you kind of want to see them. Two underdogs is what it would have been. That would have been a very cool matchup. I mean, we're going against the best team in the league who have been dominating this league for 15 plus years or whatever it is.
Crazy stat.
It's their 10th Super Bowl.
18 years Brady's been playing. Okay. They've made it to the AFC Championship game 12 times.
Yeah.
Do the math.
12 times.
Do the math. And see when that guy got picked.
Is what it is.
See how that guy, he was a backup quarterback, a nobody.
Yep.
Well, really? I mean, he was somebody good enough to obviously get drafted,
Yeah.
but you should see when he got drafted. I mean, this whole thing, it's like not like any of these kids. These kids are first and second rounders. You know what I mean? And they can't keep up with old man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do agree that, because I feel like if he gets popped one time, if a Chris Long comes in there and smokes you, or a Cox comes in there and mushes
Chris
you,
Long wants
dude,
so bad.
like that might be it. You know what I mean? They got this real young kid as their backup. Patriots. I always forget his name. He has like a fuzzy, like a a scruff look. That it just kind of looks like everybody else. So it's not a very
For a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's Hoyer.
Yes.
It was Garoppolo, but they got rid of him.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a young quarterback who you never know what happens.
No,
or you never know what's going to happen if he were to come in. If this injury, if he were to re-injure his hand, and then the Eagles win, and it's on a thing like that, and you're gonna hear they only won because they didn't have their number one receiver.
His hand was still hurt.
In a rapid tight. You know what's the best part about what's happening? Usually, if you think about it, over the last probably 10 to 15 years, it's always been the team who gets hot at the end kind of runs the table and ends up winning. Very few times have we had situations where the best team wins. You know what I mean? It's one or the other. It's the best team or a team that's just really hot and riding the wave. Well, we're at a point right now where Nick Foles didn't take any preseason snaps. He had issues with his throwing arm, so he didn't have many reps. So if you think about it, those first 4 games were his preseason, and he's getting hot and comfortable like right at the perfect time. There's not a lot of tape on him. Doug Peterson has done pretty well at kind of hiding some things and changing up the playbook. Dude, so he's like he just new. Everything's kind of fresh, and it might be the perfect time to ride the wave. And kind of have Nick Foles.
And that's like another
win a Super Bowl.
Another thing too, you got to give Doug Peterson a lot of credit.
Oh
for
Dog Peterson.
Dog Peterson.
for trusting in Foles and going back to, he said he went back to old film to see where Foles is comfortable at and where he was what he mastered at. So I mean, you got to give him a lot of credit for trusting in the whole team and not I don't know. I think other coaches would have picked this team apart again. Or you know what I mean? This isn't working. Let's put someone else here. Let's get this guy out. They would have picked it out before the season would have been over.
Mind you, most of Philadelphia didn't want Doug Peterson. Let's rewind 2 years ago. Everybody thought it was Andy Reid 2.0, and Kansas City kind of ran into that buzzsaw in the playoffs when they had the game one, and Andy Reid decided to kind of essentially, with his play calling, lose the game. So Doug Peterson had a lot of obstacles and a lot of hate towards him from the very beginning. And if they didn't perform this year, for the most part, everybody wanted him gone.
Yeah.
Everybody meaning the fans. I don't know how ownership felt. I don't have the bat phone to Jeffrey Lurie and say, hey, what's going on? But he was gone. So for him to run the table with, this season with 13-3, second-year quarterback, then to get into the playoffs and kind of have Nick Foles be in a position he's in, I mean, kudos to Doug Peterson.
Well, even by the Birds, them bringing Foles back on the team.
Yeah,
I remember when they first said that, because he was on the team before they got rid of him, and then he comes back, and I was like, "What the heck? They just really brought Nick Foles back for what?" And I'm like questioning why the heck.
Now we see it, right?
I was one of them.
I was like, why do they do that? And then next thing you know, it was like, yeah, this dude straight turned it all around, completely gave you.
But it was ugly because let's be honest, against the Falcons, what in the heck? And this is the thing that I for me, I don't care. It's not that I don't care. It's you can be super good or you can be super bad. My thing is the consistency. Are you always going to be good? Are you getting better?
Yeah.
This dude. That was the thing I think that Doug Peterson saw in Nick Foles, the sparks of greatness. Because, again, just like yesterday, we saw that is the Nick Foles you hope that have showed up and that you hope that shows up for the Super Bowl. Apparently, he has injured ribs right now.
Yeah.
So,
he got crushed. I didn't know that was on their injury report. He got waffled.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 2 weeks to recover, so hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Wow. It says there, Foles is expected to be available against the Patriots in Super Bowl 52, despite soreness.
Listen, you have enough drugs. You better be able to run through a wall. I don't care what. If it's a Super Bowl, dude, you're Nick Foles.
I think
never be
I
back
think
again.
you need that. Dude.
I think that's a big hype, too, to kind of throw it off with
the Brady.
handyman.
Yeah.
But,
Brady,
dude, we don't know, but he's probably Foles is probably a very teachable person. He probably they tell him something and he takes it in and does the corrections and is very on point with it. That's probably why they like him so much.
Okay,
I'm super scared that was an outer body experience, man. That might be it. That's what I'm nervous for. He played.
Oh, what he played yesterday
might be. I mean, looking at the numbers historically, they're like top 5 best of all time numbers.
Yeah.
Like that may be it. To say like, man, he's really hitting on all cylinders. Yeah, that's positive. But at the same time, did he hit the peak? Did he peak? Is that it?
Peak. Yeah.
So my thing with Foles is he's been in the league since 2012, right? Yeah. So 5 years, right? My thing is, as a 5-year player, there's points in those games, even though they were won, and like we can't just put everything on the quarterback. I get that, and this is the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. He literally looked like a rookie. There was, dude. There's one play, I forget whose to. It bounced off a Falcon's chest, and one of our receivers just so happened to catch it, and then that was like the turnaround of the game.
The end of the first
accidental,
half,
like. You know what I'm saying?
The guy hit it with his knee. It went up, and I think Torrey Smith ran across at the end of the half and ended up getting a field goal, which turned the whole tide of the game around.
Turned that whole Falcons game around.
Yeah.
Right.
My thing is we need to see the 5 years of experience come in, and as a player, you can't be like the inconsistency. I guess is what everybody's thing is with Foles, or was with Foles. If he now's like, all right, I'm going to show up again. I have 2 weeks, and this is my time to, solidify. Because you got to be honest, like, this, if he pulls this off, if the Philadelphia Eagles pull this off, it is, I was saying, like, dude, this got to be a movie. Yeah. Like, it's legit. Like, it has to be a movie.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there's a reason he's a backup.
Absolutely.
I mean, if he was that good, like, if he played like he did yesterday,
he'd be the starting quarterback on any team.
On any team, exactly. He would have gaudy numbers, but
right.
That's not the case. So hopefully they devise a plan where he can duplicate his efforts.
Who's our backup quarterback for the backup?
Nate Sudfeld.
Sudfeld, not him.
Yeah, so that's
if he goes down,
forget it.
Oh boy.
Well, that's what we were gonna say. Like talking about being ready. So we're watching the game, right? And we look on the sidelines and we see Sam Bradford. He's just sitting there in his coat, just sitting there. And then you look at the
standing. He was like, no one's around him. He's just standing around. He didn't have a headset on.
Nothing. And then we see the sidelines, and we see our backup quarterback. What's his name? Sudfeld.
Sudfeld.
He's all strapped up, helmet on, chin strap, ready to go. And he's sitting there on the sideline. Yeah, like
that.
Dude, he was like talking about being ready. Yeah, talking about being ready at all times. Like, dude, he probably stood there the whole game. Coach probably never looked his way, not once. Yeah. But he was ready to go, and that's what I feel like the whole season's been like for us. Like everyone's like ready. Like the next person's ready to take over. You know what I mean?
It's been next man up.
Yeah,
next man up.
They all step up. They all step up to the thing.
That's got a lot to do with coaching, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, and they wanted to kick Doug Peterson to the curb. And if you listen to some of his
motivating, man.
Well, no, pre-game or post game, like the next day, he's not the most eloquent guy, and you could tell it was a first year kind of jitters he was feeling his way through. If you hear some of these like the day after press conferences, you're like, oh my god, what a dodo, dude. It was unreal. But now I think he's kind of caught his wave. He's made
his back.
He's made his.
He has a chip on his shoulder right now because I think he definitely was feeling the heat from people.
Sure.
About coming in like, dude, if you don't make it happen, kind of thing. But I feel like everybody's
up against
it.
And
I embraced him. I actually wanted because I wasn't crazy about Chip Kelly, so I wanted somebody, and I didn't really know enough, and I knew that he was under Andy Reid, right? He coached under Andy Reid several times, and there's no shock that. Foles went from the Eagles, drafted by Andy Reid, right? Then he went to the Rams and then the Chiefs, and then came back to the Eagles. Right. There's some level of communication going on. I don't know what in the world's going on.
So you know what happened when the Eagles first worked Nick Foles out. Doug Peterson was the only one to actually go physically work him out because he was the quarterback's coach. So there is some sort of relationship that goes gets deeper, and there's a sense of loyalty I guess Nick Foles has towards Doug Peterson because, he was the only guy that actually went to go physically work him out on draft day or his pre-draft workout.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of full circle, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And they said they talked about that last night. Nick came over to Doug Peterson. Was like, "Remember when you came and worked me out, and it was just you and only you?" He's like, "Look where we're at now."
Yeah.
That's pretty.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, it is movie type stuff for sure.
It is
Definitely.
Yeah. So what do you guys what do you guys think about for the city of brotherly love? Like, what would this mean? What does it already mean? And then what would it mean with a W coming out of a Super Bowl?
There were people, I woke up this morning and I listened to sports talk radio. So I turned on immediately. I got up and I turned on the 97.5 The Fanatic. There were grown men crying.
Yes, there was.
Like, saying like, this one was for my dad. He's loved it. And like, people were literally crying on the phone. I'm like, oh, really?
People saying, oh, like they're up there watching.
Down us, like, oh man, they're smiling with me. And I was like, wow, this is like, it's deeper than football. Yeah. I mean, it's a way of life for a lot of Philadelphians.
So the city, I heard for the city itself, because I know obviously everyone knows that Philadelphia gets wild. I heard they greased up the poles so they can't climb the poles or something like that, and they showed a person climbing, like they're talking, and and you saw somebody climbing up the pole, and I'm like, I thought they greased them so you can't climb up, but he obviously made it.
Yeah, but they forgot about the statues. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
There's a lot of
So I got to work this morning. I was thinking, I was like, dude, this is for Philadelphia. This is gonna be great. 2008, Philadelphia Phillies won. 10 years later, Philadelphia Eagles will take it to the Super Bowl. A 10 year I don't know, I just saw like numbers lining up or whatever. I was like,
there's a message from Ryan Howard.
Oh, really?
To the Eagles. Yeah, he had an Eagles shirt on. He's like, come on, guys, you got to do it. We did it 10 years ago. It's your turn now.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Cool. Which is even more special because obviously he doesn't play for the Philadelphia Phillies anymore.
He did, listen, that parade for the Phillies was crazy.
This is going to be nuts.
This would be... I mean, they better call in the National Guard. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous.
Well, there's people spray painting eagles on other people's cars.
Yeah. Well, see,
like
that's
that was absurd. That's where it gets out of control.
I don't understand where any of that even comes from. How does it even make sense? I love the excitement, but I don't like the vandalism and the madness and the violence.
The burning of cars and flipping cars.
What are you doing? Yeah. I don't understand. Well, how is that celebrating?
Yeah, that just goes to shows the ignorant side of the whole thing. I just that does bother me.
I saw people posting like videos inside like the trains, like in the subways. Dude, they were like everyone's screaming, chanting, and it looked like this train was about to like tip over or something. Everyone's like screaming and jumping around, like, yo, what the? And they were all crammed in there. I'm like, that does not look fun. There's nothing appealing about it.
And that's good. That's a good fun. That's good natured fun. But yeah, some of the vandalism, and we know what stinks. ESPN will run that, and then everybody gets the preconceived. That's the immediate.
Remember when
thought.
they threw snowballs at Santa?
Oh my god!
Remember when they did this?
That narrative? That narrative will never go away. It's just because we continue to. Well, I don't say we, but people continue to act like that. But
yeah.
I just want to get this. I just want to get this W just because I'm tired of hearing like Giants fans how many rings do you guys got? And then there's a couple of
these leech Cowboy fans.
Yeah, Cowboy fans too.
Who were born in the late '80s and happened to stumble across them in the early '90s when they were good and they haven't won since. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to rub it in their face real bad.
All right, so what if you can just think about the season? What was your favorite moment of the season for the Eagles?
The Falcons game.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yesterday was great to win, but it was anticlimactic. It was done after you just knew. Yeah. It was nice to be on cruise control and know that you're going to go to the Super Bowl, but at the same time, the adrenaline rush that Saturday night gave me, I was freaking out. I was screaming. Me and my son are high-fiving, saying "Berg dang" and being nuts. But the Falcons game was
that was definitely what's that out of your chair game or whatever they call it?
You were sitting on the edge of the seat.
Edge of the seat,
till the end. Yeah. And that's how I thought the last game was going to be too.
I think you thought it was going to be 10-13. It was going to be a low scoring game, 17-10. Ended up being a whooping, which was
that's crazy. What that was the whole thing. It was like the Vikings apparently had like one of the best.
They were the best defense.
Number one defense.
My favorite thing was just like the consistency of wins this season. Like, dude, it's like yes, another win, yes, another win, yes, and the next thing you know, you're looking at a record. We're like the top of the board. Like that's. Especially for us, we haven't seen that in a while. And I think if we would have won that one the game against Dallas, which was really didn't mean anything. It would have been if we would have won, it would have been a franchise record. Yeah.
And again, a rivalry game.
Yeah, but it was like a senseless kind of game, and we didn't want to. They didn't want to injure any players.
This also too. It came as a surprise to everybody. I mean, this is Carson Wentz's second year, head coach, kind of developing, kind of building the foundation, and here we are in the Super Bowl. So this came unexpected.
Yeah.
But at the same time, once we got into the playoffs, it was like, no, we got to win now, man. You got to go for it. You
gotta go
the expectations
that was when they're interviewing the players, when they're interviewing the coaches, just they had this sense of calm about answering questions. It wasn't an overly exaggerated hype where people were just yelling and screaming. They had you could tell the adrenaline was kicked in, but man, they were zoned in about winning the Super Bowl. Yeah. Not just, we're not there just for a field trip. Yeah. We're there to come back, with the title. That was just like, in my mind, that was giving me chills. It was like, they genuinely believe in themselves. And whatever goes on in that locker room, it's working. And it has worked all season long. There's definitely a brotherhood there.
Yeah, great veteran leadership with a mix of some middle of the road veterans and some young guys that bring the energy. So yeah, they got a kind of the perfect balance right now in the locker room.
And when they do speak like in interviews, it's always we, us, the team.
Yeah, they play for one another.
The organization.
The organization. Yeah, they do. It's not like I've seen some players are like, oh yeah, I did what I had to do, and no, it's we did what we had to do just to. I like that. Yeah, that was definitely very confident to hear them talk like that. Like you had a good team.
They one of my favorites. We share. I think it was just me, you, Kelly, and Lauren. I don't know. Yeah, it was a game. It was versus the Giants, and Jake Elliott kicked that 61-yarder.
Oh yeah.
To end the game.
Yeah.
It was the first game.
Yeah. It was the first game.
It was the first game.
Yeah, I know it was the first or second game.
No, because the first game I lied. The first game they lost. The first game they lost to the Chiefs. Okay, it was the second game against New York.
Yeah, I know it was the first or second game.
They were 0-1. Yeah, they were 0-1. You're right. It was the second game, and it was played at home, where Carson Wentz was like, "I'll give this guy my check if he hits it."
Oh yeah.
And he is 61-yarder.
Yeah, dude. I mean, now it's like talking about like breaking records all around.
Well, and they picked him up because Caleb Sturgis, their initial kicker, got hurt.
Yeah.
So he was like kind of just thrown in there.
Yeah, man.
Sucks for Caleb Sturgis, huh? Get hurt and never have your job back.
Oh, I know.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Like this kid.
Yeah, this kid's been money, man.
Yeah.
This kid's been money, a rookie.
Yeah, got a boot.
Yeah. What about your favorite player on the Eagles? Anybody have a favorite or one that stands out?
Mine's been this season. Obviously, it's been Chris Long. Dude, I just love his energy. He's
awesome.
And
he loves to play, man.
Yeah, he's so passionate. Yeah. Like, you could see him. Like, talk about an emotional person. Like, he's the type of person that's like, dude, he shows every bit of emotion. And he's an animal. He puts his whole body to the test. Like, he'll go out there and, like, he's just 110%. Like, every single time.
It was game 3? Oh, I forgot. Who did they play?
Yeah, they're 1-1.
Oh, 1-1.
And then, bam, win.
I forgot about the Redskins. But Chris Long's a good one, and he plays for free.
Yeah, and he's
played for free. Donated his whole check.
The whole season.
Favorite player?
For me, I got made fun of with this guy 2 years ago, man. I'll never forget that, man. I got burned. Zach Ertz. And there was something about he carried this energy, but in a humble way. I felt that he had the talent and size of, who is that receiver for the Giants about like 10 years ago? White dude with long blonde hair.
Oh, Jeremy Shockey.
Jeremy Shockey. Jeremy Shockey was awesome. And there was something about Jeremy Shockey that it was like magnetic. Like, dude, this guy's like talented, and there was just something about his energy. He was a little bit different in his confidence, but
he had a swagger.
Yeah, he had a swagger to it. Zach Ertz has a swagger, but it's more on a humble side. But he gets the job done. I just liked him from the beginning. I don't know what it was, and then boom, he's same thing. It's almost like he's matured this year, and the puzzles just came together for him. I'm not sure, but there was a very cool video that they showed. I don't know if you guys saw it. His wife's a professional soccer player, and her game was wrapping up, obviously, so she couldn't be there for his game because that's you have a job of your own that you have.
Where
to do.
Where was it at? I know they played Sweden for the U.S. national team. I don't know where they were at though. I don't know if they were in the States or not.
I don't know. I don't think they're in the States.
Yeah.
But so she scores a goal, right? She scores a goal, and they're showing all this like highlights, whatever. She comes out, and the Eagles already had won, but they didn't say anything to her because they wanted obviously for her to focus on her.
Yeah.
But it was very close in time. It was only like maybe 15 minutes that the Eagles just had won, and then their game ended.
Yeah.
So then she walks up to the coach, and the coach is like, "The Eagles won," and whatever. She just starts crying and screaming, whatever, all this like stuff or whatever. So then they showed Zach Ertz the video of her, and then he gets emotional or whatever. He's like, "I just can't wait to for her to get home so we can celebrate or whatever."
Yeah,
dude, hands down, I was like, dude, see this guy's awesome. But anyway, yeah. So for me, it's Zach Ertz. Does anyone else have a favorite player?
Not necessarily favorite player. Favorite story is the turnaround for Nelson Aguilar. If you go back and look back, his first 2 years, I mean, his
people
head
wanted him gone.
Yeah, they wanted him out
last year. Let's be honest, it was
bad.
A bad season.
I mean, he couldn't even he literally could not catch the ball. And then for Doug Peterson to go ahead and pull the trigger and trade away Jordan Matthews, knowing that Nelson Aguilar, he had enough faith in Nelson Aguilar that he was gonna turn out to be a decent receiver. Kudos. But yeah, he's been the best story for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, everything worked out with that. So meeting the Patriots in the Super Bowl, is this a true David and Goliath story? What do you guys think?
Nah, Goliath's old now. They're not the same team. They're not the dominant team that they've been years past. They continue to find a way to win, but it's not like they were in years past where they're whooping everybody.
I feel like it's Eagles. They have that hopefully they can carry on that next legacy. What the Patriots had, all those wins and all that stuff. I hope the Philadelphia is that next team that's going to be as famous for all the playoff wins and their Super Bowl appearances and stuff like that. And of course, there's nothing better than to show up with the best team.
Let's think about this though, just to kind of spin something differently. Let's just say Nick Foles does win, right? Everybody's happy and all that. What does that do for Carson Wentz? What does that do? Did you see him he was at the podium. He was up with the players.
Yeah.
But he looked out of place, and it was just like, you weren't in the game, so did I really help contribute?
I think
he got the season there.
I agree.
There.
He's your starting quarterback next year.
Always.
And Nick Foles is your backup quarterback.
No doubt.
Nick Foles is doing what he's supposed to be doing. I think we're also giving Nick Foles too much credit. You can't give him too much. That's actually his job.
Yeah.
You're the backup quarterback. Understand what's going on. Pay attention to what's going on. How the organization is ran. How the team's ran. What motivates the players. All he has to do is just watch whatever Carson Wentz is doing, because Carson Wentz has the ticket.
Yeah.
Obviously, because something was working this season. Things were coming together. Great group of guys. I do believe same thing. Chris Long has this leadership thing about him. And you have legit veterans on the Eagles team. It's just a perfect soup. I don't know how else to explain it. But I do believe next year it's the same thing, same storyline. Yeah. Keep it moving, keep going with it.
Yeah, but does he press? Does Carson press? Let's say Nick Foles wins. I mean, we know Carson Wentz was very, very obviously integral in winning during the year and helping. I'm sure Nick Foles on the sidelines. But does he press? Man, now I got to kind of live up to. I didn't win the Super Bowl. I helped us get there, but I didn't physically win it. I just hope it's not a negative effect on him, because the trajectory of his career is way upward.
That's what happened last time when the Eagles actually made their Super Bowl. That following year, everyone's like, "Oh, we made it, lost. Oh, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get there next year." Blah blah. There was locker room issues. There was a lot of stuff going on in that season that it just crumbled again.
Yeah, but that was different. How they got there was different.
Yeah.
They had issues the whole year with locker room issues that whole year with Terrell Owens and all that other stuff. The Eagles, it was like they're getting better and they're being more united as this. It's opposite. It's a little bit different. But I do agree. You're never promised. I mean, you look at all the teams around. You turn around, the Seahawks. Look at even a worse example or better would be the Panthers. Cam Newton went to the Super Bowl, literally almost had a perfect season. Right, it was like one loss that year, and dude, they're like nothing now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Literally, almost with the same team the following year.
They only won like four or 5 games last year.
They lost like their first 6. It was like the
window.
It was bizarre.
The window for an NFL, time. This is what makes the Patriots like separate from everybody else. The window usually closes in a 3-4 year period. So that's what's happening to the Seahawks right now, right? They were very dominant for 3 or 4 years. But as your guys get kind of a little older, you either change, adapt, or that window closes.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like we got to win. This is kind of everything's happening. It almost seems preordained. It's like destiny almost. So, I mean, if you never know when you're going to be back. Ask the Cowboys. They were 12-4 last year, riding high, and they came back this year, and you just never know. Somebody could beat a woman and get suspended for 6 days and also or 6 games, and now you're out. So you never know what happens. So go get it while you can.
That's for sure. And the last thing, we'll kind of close the discussion with Super Bowl tickets, ticket prices,
costliest they've ever been.
Dude, I heard
one
Well, I feel like that's
every year.
That's every year.
That's
I mean, that has to happen.
They have travel agencies making package deals.
Yeah,
it's like $7,000 for flight, for airfare, hotel, and the ticket for the game.
That's cheap. That's good, actually. Depends on what ticket you got, because tickets range from $5,000 to $15,000.
Right.
So
think about where they're flying into. They look 2 weeks out. It's going to be 18 degrees during the day and snowing.
Yeah.
And like 8 at night. Think about the people that got to fly. Like, you got to de-ice the plane. Think about how many people. There's going to be an influx of people heading to Minnesota, of all places, to be what? You're going to be indoors the whole time. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Granted, their new stadium is gorgeous, top of the line.
That city's nice.
But everything outside, what are you going to do outside? All the fun stuff you get to do, you won't be able to do it. Yeah. But Jen looked up a Marriott that usually went for $85 a night at $1,000 a night right now.
And they'll get it.
Yeah.
They'll get it,
no problem.
Get it.
There's people driving right now are going to be in Minnesota for 2 weeks from Philadelphia. Like, let's go right now.
Yep.
Crazy.
A bunch of broke down RVs halfway there.
Yeah, right? They better be winterized, because half of these people from the East Coast are going to be like, we just had cold. No, you ain't never seen cold like you about to go to now.
Did they say from $41 to $4,000?
The $41 is like for opening night. It's just like ceremonies.
I was like, that's a gigantic jump.
So $4,000.
Yes, there's actually some here for, just under $4,000.
That's insane.
That's nothing to
Yeah.
Compared to the rest, $4,000.
Wonder what a box.
$4,000, and that's a crappy seat. Could you imagine $4,000? You're buying that. That's a good seat on a regular seat in a regular season.
Let's think about some of these blue collared people from Philly that would just love to kill to be there. Life savings are being spent right now to go to Minnesota.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're taking loans. Like, this happens once in a lifetime. Yeah. That's it.
I saw that one guy was on TV. He said, "I'll take out a loan if I have to." Yeah. This is what Philadelphia does.
He said,
I was like,
401k what? 401? Get that out of here. Wow. Retirement? There's people who'll do it though.
Yeah, so it's crazy. It's actually one of my dreams is to go to a Super Bowl. It's incredible. It's like, dang.
Yeah.
Here we go. But you never know.
Yeah.
It can happen any year. But one of those things is I would definitely love.
Does it have to be the Eagles? Or you just want to go to the event itself?
When I set that goal, I honestly didn't see the Eagles going again in a long while, not even realizing that it's a possibility. Mm-hmm. My whole thing was just going to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like a Super Bowl. Now with this team, I think it's even more believable that it's possible that I can go to a Super Bowl where the Eagles are actually playing. But my thing is obviously financially, I don't want it to be like one of these guys or whatever you guys said, somebody's taking loans out and stuff. Yeah. I want to be genuinely like buy 4 tickets or something like that, 6 tickets, and it not be the money issue. I just want to go and enjoy the experience. Same thing with like World Series.
I mean, and they have like a lot of things going on before,
Yeah.
after the game, that whole week.
Oh, it's gonna
There's
be
all
it'll
kinds
be a
of,
weekend
like,
thing.
Yeah.
You know, Thursday to
activities
Monday.
going
That
on.
whole just 4 days.
Phillies put their name in
Yeah.
to actually host it. Now that they're outdoor cold weather ones, they put their name in, and
Yeah, I mean, we
they're
had the
considering it.
draft, and they're considering that coming
So
back
you're
again.
Philly, man.
So
they got
like,
the draft here. We're gonna win the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Why not? All right, so there you have it, folks. The Philadelphia Eagles. We wrap things up with quotes, and the first quote is by Tom Landry. Setting a goal is not the main thing. It is deciding how you would go about achieving it and staying with that plan. And the last quote is by George Halas. Nobody who ever gave his best regretted it. Philadelphia Eagles. In this episode, the crew talks about Philadelphia Eagles football team, the season, the Super Bowl, being an underdog, the city of brotherly love, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Tom Landry and George Halas. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by the Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyLeeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyLeeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.